Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to the Brick City Blockade Star Wars podcast. Here, I'm sitting across from Sean. It's the regular podcast crew here for studio sessions live from EXTV 98 at Exeter High School Studios. Sean, we're back in the studio again.
We are. Cowabunga!
Yeah, so exciting, so awesome to be back with you guys. We're really here because there was something specific that happened this past week. And Sean, I think here at the Podcast Network, we're a little shooken up, and we want to let the community know that it was a little thing called Star Wars Celebration 2017. Oh, maybe it was Easter. Easter shakes us up sometimes. You know, it can really get down on the chocolate.
Especially the Easter egg hunts.
Oh, that's pretty dark. But okay, but
kidding,
never mind. But Star Wars Celebration 2017 happened in Orlando this year, and Sean, so much came out of Star Wars Celebration that we had to come in the studio and talk about it before we hit Avon, Connecticut tomorrow.
It was crazy. Just the first 2 days, especially the first few days was the first day was the beginning of Star Wars Celebration. We had Carrie Fisher's tribute or pre-tribute, if you want to call it, and then we had the
40th anniversary panel.
Yeah, basically the 4th, and that was really nice. I missed a couple of it. I was working on homework, of course, papers. That was basically my weekend: homework and watching Star Wars Celebration. That's it, and Easter. So that was pretty fun. But then on Friday we had the biggest reveal with the Star Wars The Last Jedi trailer, and we got pumped up when we all saw it here at the podcast. We got way too pumped up.
We were so excited when that trailer dropped. And Sean, I've talked to Brian Fontaine, and I've talked to Scott Inch, I've talked to James, I've talked to a lot of people, and I've kind of talked to you about your reaction to the Last Jedi panel and the Last Jedi teaser trailer. However, I don't think half of the people here at the Podcast Network and our fans really know what your opinion of this teaser to the teaser trailer was. What do you think?
Well, to me, it mirrored the Force Awakens trailer. Because I saw a post on Tumblr or whatever, it was because they're both about 2 minutes long, and it mirrored each other basically, and but this trailer was, I think it was, in my opinion, more well made than the Force Awakens one. It didn't leave too much spoilers, if you want to say. I don't know. I got chills when I was watching it, and especially that first scene with Rey has her hands up, she's like, that's my impression of her. Just that's breathing. That's how I felt when I was watching the trailer. Just that.
I know, and it was so great that during that trailer, we might as well, while you're sitting here, break this trailer down while we have the chance here, but not break it down too far. Just that opening piece where Rey kind of looks like she's coming back from something. She's opening up once again. She's experiencing something within the Force, it seems like.
Feels like it's something Force sensitive, either what Luke has done with her, because we don't know when that shot has. We don't know if that's the second shot right after, or the second scene more above than what the first scene is actually going to be about.
Right. I mean, we don't know if Rey was going through a training exercise there.
I mean, we see that. We see it in the top shot in like the minute time frame of the trailer. We see her just fighting with a light, or just training with a lightsaber. A beautiful shot, by the way.
Oh, that was a wonderful, wonderful shot. It's something in Star Wars that we haven't seen in quite some time. Just kind of panoramic shot. But let's talk about specifically when it comes to what Luke was saying when we're going over Octu, when we're going over Skellig Michael Island there. And he's saying, breathe, just breathe. And then, what do you see? And that's one of my favorite parts, is when we start going through and we keep cycling. Your first thoughts on when you saw the back of Leia, and it was, "You're my only hope," quietly in the background.
That was the best quote that was used when I was watching it. I'm like, that's what I wanted to. I wanted a young Leia and a voiceover over this trailer with the passing of Carrie Fisher. I'm going to say Princess Leia, but we don't know yet.
Right. And it was just a nice little segue that they said the light. And then, of course, we get into the dark. And there was obviously a little bit of a crossover between the Vader theme, Kylo Ren's theme, and then if you hear closely in the background, it's Ian McDermott's voice saying the dark side.
Yeah, I heard
which
that.
was such a nice little tone. I mean, it didn't give away too much either.
No.
For you fans who were watching the Last Jedi trailer, I'm sure you can agree with us. There was not too much that they wanted to spoil about the dark side right away. They kind of just kept it very basic. Kylo Ren's broken helmet, it was just enough.
And I'm just like, with the lightsaber doing.
Yeah.
What did he say? I can't remember what he said.
I can't remember what he said, but he was pointing at somebody. I mean,
Who? Maybe. It could be Luke.
right. And we'll get into that in just a second. But they said the light, the dark, and then Sean, the balance. That was the one that clinched this trailer for me, was just seeing the original Jedi Order symbol on the book. And then it looked like a glove. I don't know if it's necessarily Rey, but a glove being brought over it. And she said, the balance. Now, we've been talking about it here on the podcast network for quite some time. Do you think this confirms the focus on the Force more than the Jedi in many ways? Obviously, the end kind of spoils that.
I think it's more not the Force, but the balance of the Force. Like splitting up the light and the dark side, and that's what the balancing is, like a weighted scale. And you're putting on, like, say this helmet right here, and putting another helmet there, and it's like a stormtrooper helmet here, or sorry, not stormtrooper, more like a clone trooper helmet.
Right.
With this helmet, and then put it on a scale, and that's the balance.
Right. It's balancing in its most physical form. That makes a lot of sense, too, because it seems like, especially with The Last Jedi, we're going to have a balance issue. It's going to be, obviously, at the end of the trailer, and we'll get to this, there seems to be a change of ways when it comes to the Jedi, the Force, the dark side, and I think Supreme Leader Snoke is going to touch upon that as well in this film. However, Sean, your reaction to the specific scene, which I think threw a lot of us off, which were those fighters on what is now the confirmed planet. I can't remember it off. I think it's Crest or one of those names, Crest. I can't remember.
I don't know. Scott said this on Facebook. I don't remember what he said, but
it was really cool to see those fighters kind of land onto that planet, and then the red smoke coming up from behind.
It's just like a war scene, and like Saving Private Ryan or whatever, or like a weird war scene.
And I think that's what we have to expect as Star Wars fans.
Coming off
of Rogue One.
Yeah, like I was gonna say, right? I think that inputted Rogue One into a little of The Last Jedi, and to make it more dark.
Right, and I think that's definitely the direction we're going down. You and I have talked about it so much, Sean, is that they are moving closer and closer to darker films. I don't really see them kind of pulling back in this one, because if they want to keep it true, and we say it all the time, A New Hope was similar to Force Awakens in the tone that it carried. If this is going to be similar in the tone of Empire Strikes Back, there's going to be a lot of death, there's going to be a lot of fighting, and there's going to be some really, really epic moments. And I think the teaser trailer kind of touched upon some of those.
That's what we want in this movie, I think, and that's why so many people love the Return of the Jedi, the Empire Strikes Back, right. And I think it's gonna, like you said, it's gonna be a lot of similarities, but a lot of differences in it, especially with the light versus dark idea, and especially that last quote that Luke said.
And we say it all the time here at the podcast network. Don't take it from us. Go back and watch this teaser trailer to see it.
Don't overthink it. That's what I said. Even though what he said, I'm not gonna say what he said. No. You guys go watch it. But it did throw me off. But you gotta think about the outcomes, the possibilities that could happen. I mean, why did he say it, or is it?
We're trying to be very careful in terms of the line that we draw. Yeah.
Why he said it, or is it something related to something else, or is it an unfinished sentence, and they just cut it off there?
Yeah, we've seen that with Star Wars trailers in the past, especially with Force Awakens. There were some things in the trailer that they only used one or two lines, and then they cut the rest of the line out. And when you finally saw the film, it was like, whoa, where did this line come from? You know, the teaser trailer only used one or two words. Or what they did was they pulled from one part of the movie and combined it with another line from another part of the movie. Yeah. That's the beauty of what Star Wars does.
Well, they did that with Rogue One.
Right.
The Rogue One trailer, and half of the stuff in the trailer wasn't even in the movie.
Right. I mean,
you don't know about the Last Jedi if they're going to do the same thing. We don't know if that scene's going to be in there.
Yeah. I think that's within the realm of possibility that some of these scenes might not be in there. Now, just kind of looking at what that final part was in that trailer, I would be a little disappointed if that wasn't in the movie.
No, I know.
Because it's like it was such a clinching moment. And again, we'll say it here. You guys have to go back and watch it. Make sure to go over to YouTube. Make sure to head on over to brickcityblockade.com. It's up there for you guys to check out. Please make sure you do so. Sean, overall thoughts with this trailer? Not necessarily the specifics, but overall, your thoughts. Did it do what it had to do for Star Wars fans at Celebration?
It did. It was the most exciting thing at Star Wars Celebration, and we'll get more into the celebration after my thoughts on the trailer. But I think this trailer did better than Force Awakens, in my opinion. And to see how this movie is gonna play, it's unfathomable.
Yeah, there's so much that could play out in The Last Jedi as we move closer again to August, September, October. We will most likely see a full-length trailer at that point.
And we'll break it down again.
Yeah, we'll be back in here doing it again, talking with you guys about Star Wars The Last Jedi. Now at Celebration, Sean, there were other panels other than the Last Jedi panel, which was kind of nice.
Yeah, the first one that was kind of big was the Rebels panel, especially the Season 4 trailer. And I would like to hear your thoughts on it and my thoughts.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, going into the Star Wars Rebels panel, I wasn't sure necessarily what we would get. You and I kind of speculated beforehand, and I'd speculated with Bryan and Scott on Rebels recap, that it was within the realm of possibility that Season 4, this upcoming season, was going to be the last season of Star Wars Rebels on Disney XD.
I mean, last time we said that, we kind of expected, because look at it, it's an animated TV show, and they don't go on forever, like not like The Simpsons, Family Guy, or whatever. But even though they don't have really good plot lines for those shows, but Rebels do. And that's why Rebels is better than those shows. But I mean, it has to end, I think. And I think they made the right decision to end it, because I don't want to be oversaturated with that. I mean, like, I think 5 seasons could go 5 seasons, but I think 4 is enough.
Yeah, 4 seasons makes a lot of sense. You had mentioned it before, Sean, in the past episode, that 5 seasons is a good number.
Oh, that's what the Clone Wars did, 5 seasons, and I think that's a perfect season to end it for any TV show. Actually, I mean, TV shows could go on forever, and they could drag out, and it could be terrible.
Yeah, let's talk specifically about this trailer alone. First off, just having Hera's voice at the beginning saying the story of a young boy.
I think it fits for Hera for her to voice over this trailer. Because she's become one of the biggest main characters in this series. And last season she hasn't, which kind of disappointed me. She didn't have too much of a storyline. And I think she's going to have a very big storyline coming into Season 4.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that we did get a little bit about Cham Syndulla and her family and Thrawn and trying to play into her head a little bit, but we didn't get enough about her as a leader, as a General Syndulla in many, many ways.
I mean, I think they focus on Sabine a lot this season, which was good, and I don't think they're gonna do much of her in this next season, but I think they should really focus on Hera and Ezra, of course, because he's the main character. But I kind of want to see more of their relationship together, because they kind of like a mother-son relationship, and I really like that relationship there.
Space mom. That's what everybody calls her. Yeah. Space mom. She's always looking out for everybody else. And one of the things from the trailer, Sean, I think that we definitely have to talk about is that we had this whole thing with Hera and everything, and then she said, but we weren't ready what was coming to us next. Yeah. And that is most likely Thrawn dropping the hammer. I think last year, a lot of fans were a little concerned, or last season. Well, technically it started last year, but then it went into this year. When Thrawn came into the picture I think fans became a little disappointed because they thought, boom, he's going to come right in, he's going to drop the hammer, people are going to die right away.
That's not how
it's a slow burn. He's a slow burn kind
That's
of character.
That's not how he plays. That's not how he plays.
Exactly.
It's like he's playing chess,
Yeah.
and he's gonna knock that king down with his whatever pawn, king, queen, whatever he uses. Because he has so many routes to, so many different plays to do it. So, and I can't wait to see how he's gonna do it.
Yeah, it's going to be epic. It's going to be fun for Star Wars fans to see this. And again, we're moving closer and closer to the events of Rogue One, Sean, in Star Wars Rebels. Some people are going to have to start biting the bullet this season. I see a lot of them happen.
Well, we see Forrest Whitaker's character,
Saw
Gerrera, older in the next season. So that quickly. So how much of a time frame is from season 3 to season 4? That's my question.
That's a really good question. I don't think we've ever explored that here on the podcast network. But
well, he's starting to have gray hair in season 4, but we saw him in season 3 with really young. So I guess we're gonna have a big time jump. I guess.
Yeah, there would have to be. There would have to be some kind of time jump for there to be some kind of development in terms of Saw getting older. He stepped away from, of course, the Rebels crew. In the one specific episode after they went to Geonosis, and they were exploring some of the leftovers from Poggle the Lesser and the Empire. So yeah, you're right. And I never thought about that before.
It feels like just a few years though, not like a big jump, but
yeah, I could see that. I could see there only being a couple of years in between that. That's going to be something that's going to be great to see. Whether they fill in a gap at the beginning of the season, they say, like we do with a lot of the Star Wars movies.
Unless they do that with a mid-season, like have a time jump during the mid-season.
That would be interesting. That would be a cool concept to have that as well, just for fans to kind of be like, okay, we have to go through natural changes. We have to make this time jump because, again, it's only 15 episodes this season. We're not having the 22-episode run like in the past. So that would make sense if they do that.
The thing that excited me with the trailer was that wolf.
I know.
Which, like, you usually don't see those types of creatures in Star Wars. Like, that's kind of cool. And I keep seeing a lot of theories that it could be Ahsoka, which I kind of don't like it. It's kind of cool, but Ahsoka lives? ?
Yeah, I mean, you just brought it up, and I'm glad you brought it up. There are a lot of theories heading into this season about what that wolf could be, where Kanan is going to be heading in terms of training Ezra. Of course, Ezra has been kind of fiddling between the dark side and the light side, but I think what last season kind of proved to us was that Ezra is on a path where we don't really know.
Like, after watching that trailer with the time jump, I think it's going to make sense a lot with the Last Jedi, and that could make sense. Maybe that's why they're doing it. I mean, you might have a thing with what Sabine might be playing.
You guys can head on over to Brick City Blockade and read that. But there's going to be some interesting development when it comes to this. And I think the trailer did its job, Sean, for Star Wars fans, because you and I are sitting here talking about it, hypothesizing about different characters and what their role is going to be. I think that's what this trailer had to do.
Yeah, we did it a little more than The Last Jedi, but because The Last Jedi didn't give us much. And there's not much. I mean, there's a lot to talk about, but we want to keep it in our minds.
Right. Yeah. There's going to be a lot of articles from the podcast network very, very soon as we move closer to the Rebels season and, of course, closer to The Last Jedi. Sean, one of the things I think we have to talk about here, and one of the things I would love to close out this episode on, is that there was a lot of talk, in all understanding, for Carrie Fisher and her passing away. And I think it was great that Billy Lord came out, Harrison Ford came out, everybody came out to support Carrie Fisher and to have that nice little tribute to her. But I think one of the things that was kind of not necessarily talked about enough at Celebration, one of the tributes was the Kenny Baker tribute. Yeah. That's one of the things I wanted to leave it off on, was that Carrie Fisher was crucial to this universe. She was Princess Leia. We love her, and we will never forget her. But Kenny Baker.
But there's all those other characters that's heartwarming to this universe of Star Wars. Kenny Baker was a great R2-D2, and we'll never forget him either. And both of them are in our hearts.
Yeah, I mean, Kenny Baker, that nice little tribute there. I thought that came at a great time. It was nice. It was during the Droids panel, so you had Alan Tudyk there. You had Anthony Daniels there. You had Warwick Davis, somebody who was around the droids and just all the actors at that time and really understood what Kenny Baker's role was in the Star Wars universe. So here from the Brick City Blockade Podcast Network, we want to pay tribute, of course, to Carrie Fisher, but of course we will also want to pay tribute to Kenny Baker. He will always be R2-D2 in our hearts, and it's hard not to associate him with anybody else.
No, I agree.
We'll always remember you, Kenny Baker. Always.
Beep boop.
nice little add in there, the beep boop. You have to have it in there, guys. You have to have it in there.
He's R2.
Well, Sean, I think it's that time of the show. It's a little thing we like to call here on the Brick City Blockade Podcast Network and Studio Sessions Live. But is it here live?
We could do it here right now
in the studio.
Jin,
it's time to do
plug time.
Plug time here from the Brick City Blockade Podcast Network. Mr. Sean Michaud. Where can the good people find you across social media?
They can find me on Twitter at SeanMichaud1. Follow me on Instagram, Zone2434. Friend me on Facebook. Follow my music at Bandcamp and SoundCloud, and check all it out. It's great. Where they can find you?
They can find me over on Twitter at Mr. Vogt Tweets. Make sure to head on over to Instagram. Follow me at the official Vote. Make sure to subscribe to the Brick City Blockade Podcast Network on iTunes. We love getting your rates, your subscriptions, and your comments about what's working, what's not working, and what definitely we can continue to work on here at the Podcast Network. Make sure to check out BrickCityBlockade.com for all your Last Jedi, Star Wars Rebels, and everything happening in a galaxy far, far away. Sean, one of the last things I want to talk about before we send them off, Avon Con 2017 this weekend. What a time we are going to have.
Yep, it's our second con of this year. We got many more to come. Avon Con tomorrow. We don't know when this is released, so last week.
Right.
So we're going to have a lot of fun, and we're going to talk a lot of stars.
That's right. You guys can check that out. We're going to have
Rise
a
of the
live stream.
Villains.
Yeah, Rise of the Villains live stream from Avon Free Public Library in Avon, Connecticut with the 501st.
Yeah, we'll have that live stream on SoundCloud next week or whenever we'll release this. So keep in tune with that.
Yeah, make sure, again, to subscribe on iTunes to the Brick City Blockade Podcast Network for everything happening in a galaxy far, far away. Thank you guys for checking out Studio Sessions Live here from the Brick City Blockade Podcast Network. And like we always say here, may the Force be with you.
Always.
And you.
Forever
Forever young.